On this week's episode of the QC Step Podcast, I will share the current job leads with you and give you 5 tips on filling out online job applications. It's the week of October 14th through 18th, and this is the QC Step Podcast. Hi, and welcome to this week's episode of the QC Step Podcast. My name is Corey Finneran, and don't forget that you can connect with us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and this is the way to get the most current job leads and employment tips. You can like us on Facebook at qcstep.com/Facebook, and we are at QCStep on Twitter and Instagram. These podcasts are in both audio and video. The video is available on our website, and that's the best way to get the information. And if you're not able to view these in video, the audio is also available on our website, or you can subscribe for free in iTunes or Stitcher Smart Radio. Before we get started here, I'd like to remind you that the Day of Transition 2013 is less than 3 weeks away, and there isn't much time left to register. In the next week or so, after you register, you'll be given the opportunity to sign up for the different sessions that you'd like to attend. In addition to the 2 keynote speakers, we have breakout sessions that you'll be able to choose from. And the topics for these sessions are preparing yourself for an interview, turning training into competitive employment. There will be representatives from local community colleges to speak on the different certification and training programs at their schools. A current STEP student will talk about his success with getting jobs, and I will do a session on how social networking like Facebook and Twitter can help you get a job and how it can keep you from getting a job. And we'll finish the day with an employer panel. Hiring managers from a few businesses will be there to talk about what they're looking for in applications, and you will have the opportunity to ask them questions. There will be 13 different speakers for this conference, so you will get a nice variety of information and from lots of different people. And it's a full day event that's free for you, and it includes lunch. But again, it's coming up quickly, and we need you to register as soon as possible. Here in a few minutes, I'm going to talk with you about filling out online applications. But before I do that, let's take a look at this week's job leads. I post these job leads to qcstep.com usually on Monday mornings, and there are links to the online applications if the businesses have them. There are 3 Hy-Vee stores that are hiring. The Milan store is hiring courtesy clerks. The Moline store on John Deere Road is hiring courtesy clerks, and the Rock Island store is hiring a kitchen helper. There are also 3 McDonald's locations that are hiring for the crew position, which is their entry-level position. The East Moline location, the Silvis location, and the Rock Island location on 11th Street. Burlington Coat Factory in Bettendorf is looking for receiving associates. Target in Moline is hiring seasonal employees. The Panera Bread in Davenport is hiring hourly associates. The Kmart in Moline is hiring cashiers. The Ryan's Grill and Buffet in Moline is hiring cooks, dishwashers, servers, and cashiers. And also, as I've been saying the last few weeks, don't forget that nearly every retail business is hiring for their holiday seasonal positions right now. If you would like help with any of these applications or any others, contact Gary or Carrie through your teachers, or you can email info@qcstep.com and I'll pass it on to Gary or Carrie depending on which school you go to. Two weeks ago, on episode number 39, I gave you 5 reasons you should work a retail seasonal job. Last week, I gave you 6 tips on finding seasonal employment. So now that you know why you should work these positions and you know how to find the jobs, the next step is applying for them. Most of these applications are online now, and on this week's episode, I'm going to give you 5 tips on filling out online job applications. If you filled out online applications before, you know that these are pretty difficult and confusing. They can take a long time to fill out, and the questionnaire sections are confusing and exhausting. So here are 5 tips on filling out online applications. The first tip with filling out online applications is gather information. Get organized with your work history, including the dates, contact information, and the names of your previous supervisors and your personal references. You will need to get organized with the hours of availability that you have. It would be a good idea to use a master application, a paper job application that you've filled out to refer to when you're filling out an online application. You will obviously need internet access. Most online applications require an email address. If you don't have one, sign up for a Gmail account. And I would encourage you to pick one that's appropriate, like your first name dot last name at gmail.com. If you already have an email address and it's not professional, sign up for another. And what's just as important as signing up for the email is once you have completed the application, check the email for that address. Most email clients allow you to forward email to another address, so you might consider doing that to ensure that you see any email from potential employers. The second tip with filling out online applications is do your research. And this isn't necessarily specific to online applications, but it's especially important with them. Research the position that you're applying for and try to find a written job description of that position. You might find it on their website, or you can do a Google search like Target Stalker job description. I mentioned last week that it's difficult to stand out with an online application. One way that you can stand out is by using industry-specific terms. For instance, here's the job description for Hy-Vee courtesy clerks. If you're filling out a Hy-Vee online application and you have previous work experience that involves working with customers, then use their terminology. Word for word, in your previous work experience, say, provided prompt, efficient, and friendly customer service. Using their terms will catch their attention because it's language that they are familiar with, and even if they recognize it from their own job description, it shows that you took the time to do your research on their company. Online applications are very time consuming, and you want to get the most out of the time that you spend on them. So do your research and give yourself the best chance you can at landing an interview with that employer. The third tip with filling out online applications is get help. Even if you have filled out lots of paper applications, it's a good idea to have another set of eyes looking at the online application with you. And this is what we're here for. Gary and Carrie will sit down with you and help you through the process. If you're filling it out at home, ask a parent or an older sibling that has filled them out to help you with it. If you haven't done an online application, trust me when I say that you don't want to do this alone. The fourth tip for filling out online job applications is create a username and a password for the application. This is the Hy-Vee online application, and they require you to sign in. Some applications give you that option. Even if this is only optional, you'll want to do it because it will, if you get interrupted or maybe you lose internet connectivity, you will be able to pick up where you left off. Now, notice here that you can sign in with your email address, or you can sign in with your accounts through Facebook, Google, Yahoo, and LinkedIn. And if you have geared your social networking towards finding employment, you may want to do that. If you haven't geared your social networking towards employment and these accounts have things on them that you wouldn't necessarily want potential employers to see, number one, don't connect through your social networking accounts. And number two, clean those profiles up. As I mentioned earlier, I'll be speaking on at the Day of Transition 2013 on social networking and how it can help you get a job and how it can keep you from getting jobs. And my suggestion is, unless you have a LinkedIn profile, use your email address to create an account with these online applications. The fifth tip for filling out online applications is take your time. These applications are rarely timed. You have as much time as it takes to complete the applications. And when you rush through applications, you make mistakes. I would say that even if you're familiar with online applications, these will take at least an hour to complete. If you have created an account with your email address for the application, you can actually break the application up into sections. Fill a section out and then take a break. and you will definitely want to take a break before you start the questionnaire portion. So take your time, and if you feel yourself needing a break, don't hesitate to do that. As I've said many times on this episode, online applications are tough. They're time-consuming and they can be frustrating. If you follow these 5 tips, you may still struggle with the application or experience some frustration, but I think that it will make your experience a little bit more smooth. I really think that the most important thing is to get help with the application, and if you need that, again, email me and I'll pass it on to Gary or Carrie and they'll be in contact with you. Well, that does it for this week's episode. In the last 3 weeks, I've covered why you should work seasonal positions. I've given you tips on finding seasonal employment. And now today, I've given you tips on filling out online applications, so you have the tools that you need to get that seasonal job. Thanks for listening, downloading, and watching, and I will be back next week with another episode of the QC Step Podcast.